All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Bank Sisters and burn it down with Kim Brown.
Hey, what up, Kim?
Hi, DMV is well represented. Sabby too. Sabby too is DMV by extension.
I know, right? I know it's been a while since I've been. I still have to go back and visit. It's been a minute since the pandemic. But I want to go ahead and introduce, guys, if you're new and you have not met them, the Bank Sisters, Courtney and Keisha. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Oh, hey, what's up? We're the Bank Sisters. I'm Courtney. I'm Keisha. We make videos and talk about current events and such. That's it.
Kim?
It's plenty. I'm Kim Brown. I host Burn It Down with Kim Brown, and that's what I do also. I talk about politics and cultural things, always centering the perspective of Black women and marginalized people and workers. So I'm very excited to be here with you tonight, Sabby and the Bank Sisters. Yeah.
Good to see you.
All right, so I'm going into our second story, which is about, of course, the slap heard around the world last night between Will Smith and Chris Rock. I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you for those of you who have not seen this by now, but also provide a little bit of background context to this that I think some people are not aware of. So let me go ahead and play the video first. Hopefully there is not an ad, but it says Will Smith and Chris Rock have a history that predates the Oscar slap. But let's go ahead and play this.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
ウィル・スミスにやられました。
Wow, dude. It was a G.I. Jane joke.
G.I. Jane のジョークだったんで。
I'm going to, okay? Okay.
Now, I don't know if everyone saw what happened right there in the beginning, but I do want to pause because I want you to see the expression really quick.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Right there. That expression from Jada, as you can tell, she does not look very happy about that joke. Will Smith is actually laughing at this point. So yep. I do want to come out here and I want to open this up to the panel.
Listen, we talked about this. We talked about this in many, many, many levels today on our live stream because I feel like there's so many layers you can put to this. But I have to say, when I originally saw it and I saw Jada roll her eyes, I thought that was like the bit. Like I thought, oh, that's part of the joke. Mm-hmm. And then when he got up, I also thought that was part of the joke. And then it wasn't. I think the craziest thing, like Keisha and I were talking about, and she pointed this out, but how long it took for him to walk up there. And he still decided to hit this man. Like that was that's wild.
I think it took him it was like 6 or 7 seconds that it took him to walk up there. It took him a while. Oh man, what a crazy. The thing that they talk about, the backstory too, I think is very interesting because if he's been holding on to it for this long
from 2016, right? I mean, and like it's not like I'm the kind of person who's to say like violence is not correct in any situation. Like I don't think that's my issue, obviously, with like civility politics and all of this. Like it gets us to this point where we can't even actually talk about anything or have anything actually change because we're all tiptoeing around each other. Mm-hmm. But I do just hate that this happened in front of a bunch of white people. That's just one. I'm just like, dang, y'all, like, oh, I don't know. So I don't know. I want to hear what Kim has to say.
Let's see what Kim has to say.
Well, so I didn't take too much from Will laughing, to be honest, because Will obviously knows that he's on camera at that point. I mean, not to say that he cared about that 10 seconds later, but you know, I when you're put in some of those sort of awkward situations, like I think people are expected to just laugh, just go along, ha ha ha, even if the joke isn't funny. Now, clearly Jada did not find it all that funny, but at the same time, it's not unheard of for people to laugh before they get upset and go punch somebody in the face. I mean, that could have been his defense mechanism reaction. Like I don't interpret too much from him laughing, because I think a laugh or even a smile can beguile a myriad of things under the surface. So I want to hear more about the backstory, because I understand that there is quite an extensive, you know, back and forth between Chris Rock and Will Smith and Jada specifically. And at the same time, like, this is an I-95 kind of issue, right? Because Chris Rock is from New York and Jada's from Baltimore, Will is from Philly, okay? And, you know, I-95 people get down a certain way. And I felt as though Baltimore and Philly just came on out. And but me personally, I didn't have a problem with it. Like, it being in front of white people to me was inconsequential. Like, the biggest thing that excited me about it is that Will Smith came across to me as an ableist Avenger. You know what I mean? Like, it is so seldom that people who are dealing with, you know, any kind of health condition or disability, like, a lot of ableist shit is allowed to fly a lot of times unchecked. And the fact that Will Smith checked that ableist shit, whether or not he even was intentionally doing it to check ableist shit, to me is why I rather enjoyed the slap.
Okay, Kim, I did watch see some of your tweets, and I feel like I learned a lot from that perspective, because I didn't even take it that way. But I guess for me, like, not knowing, I did not even know she had alopecia. I guess I didn't even think of it from that perspective, because I've always thought of Jada as rocking the short style. So like that didn't even come into my mind at first.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people didn't know that. For people who don't know, Jada Pinkett does have alopecia. Apparently, she also has like an autoimmune diseases as well. I think that's where the anger came from. But again, going to the backstory, they have a history together. This isn't the first time that Chris Rock, I guess, has made some comments about Jada that Will didn't like. But this kind of opened up another question. And I'm seeing people on Twitter. Some people are like, yeah, I'm on Team Will. And some people are like, I'm Team Chris. And I don't want people to be split over this, in the sense that they're trying to I don't want to say like fall into the celebrity culture of where they're trying to like glorify these celebrities. Because at the end of the day, both Chris Rock and Will Smith are rich, and they're going to be fine at the end of all of this. And I just want to make that very clear to people. But what the question that it brought to me is censorship. And I've never been a comedian. Trying to do that would be laughable in itself. But for people that have done comedy, where do you draw the line? Because like, when I'm like anti-censorship, like, I don't like, people can say whatever they want. I may not necessarily agree with it, but where do you draw the line when it comes to censorship? Like, is it okay for comedians to say whatever they want?
I mean, listen, I did stand up for, you know, several years, like at the Comedy Store, where the roast battle was born, you know, with Jeff Ross. Which is interesting. Jeff Ross also has alopecia, I guess. I didn't realize that's why he was bald. So he was saying that lots of people make fun of him. I had no idea. I have often called him a mole rat, in a nice way, in a loving way. But like, I guess the thing about, I think it's kind of like two things meeting. Like, I think that comedians have to bring that edge back, and you have to be willing to go there and say those jokes. And then it's almost like, that to me just reminded me of like real actors, like why we really like American actors, because they're usually have more emotion, they're more themselves. Like, we used to see a lot more, I feel like, of this kind of people like kind of like going outside of the bounds, or things that you wouldn't necessarily want to see and replayed. Like, we haven't really seen something like this, somebody losing control like this, whereas I feel like we used to see that more. So maybe, you know, maybe comedians do need that little bit of pressure. You know, the joke better be good then, you know, because there are a lot of lazy jokes. If you think somebody might hit you on the other end, your joke might get a little tighter. So, I mean, that's just the reality, though. I think the comedians should be allowed to say the jokes, and they shouldn't fear, obviously, for like being hit every time, but maybe if you do feel that pressure of like, listen, if it's a fucked up joke, there might be a consequence. It might make the jokes better. So
gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess I am concerned though, that we won't, it's a sticky situation because it's like, it honestly, it wasn't, if it would have been a better joke too, that was part of it. It was like an okay joke. Even my mom was like, man, like wasn't even that good of a joke. So, I mean, yeah, I like this idea of like, if you're going to make fun of someone and it's going to be stinging like that, it better be freaking worth it, because otherwise, I don't know. I'm so like, hello to Big Teal. My brain is like so racked from talking about this earlier. I can't even like put my thoughts together. So give me a minute. Go ahead, Kim.
So I don't think it's that, I don't look at it really as a censorship issue, because I still feel as though comedians will use their platform and their stage to say and do what they wish. But I believe now we're coming to a point of hopefully some sort of humane reconciliation where some of these jokes are getting collected and letting people know that, it's not funny, right? If you think about some of the jokes that used to fly regularly in the 20th century, your mama so black, your mama so fat, your wife so bald-headed, like that shit is not funny no more. Like people don't laugh at that. And I think the only reason they did was a sort of uniform social uncomfortability, you know what I mean? Like, ha ha ha, it's just laughing to sort of go along with the room, so to speak. But people don't laugh at those kinds of jokes anymore. And I think that if you are focusing a joke that highlights intentionally or otherwise, basically the symptom of someone's health condition that they have publicly spoken about, then you are a shitty comedian. Like you're not clever, you're not witty, like there's nothing cute to me or funny about highlighting or zeroing in specifically on someone's disability, an immutable thing.
Something but Kim, you don't think like there are any jokes you can make about cancer. I've seen people who have cancer who have made very funny jokes.
Cancer.
Sure, but I've also seen people roast them. I've seen people like, I just feel like it's not always done from a place of intention coming from a negative place. And I also think sometimes that the comedy, what we're talking about is hopefully this will elevate people's jokes. But I do feel like I've seen people make a joke to almost elevate, like bring them more into the fold, but also like make people think about something from a different way. Like sometimes you can't necessarily tell somebody what somebody's going through, but they'll get it through comedy. Like I just feel like sometimes there are other ways to get people.
But how far back was Chris Rock reaching with G.I. Jane? I'm like,
that was a lame joke, right? That's the point. The joke was bad. The joke was not good.
Definitely, the comedians have to step their game up for sure. They need much better writers. I mean, Malia Obama is a writer now, guys, so probably everything's gonna be fine.
Listen, if you guys can go back and watch Eddie Murphy's Raw, which I think a lot of people will argue is a classic. Like he has a whole segment where he is mocking gay people, and that you like though I think it's good that some of this shit goes away, because I hope that we evolve from being like a spirited sort of place. Like I think comedy can be way smarter than that. Like I think it just takes a little bit more thought and a little bit more effort, but to crack on people's, again, if he'd have said something about Jada's dress or about entanglement or anything like that, like to me, all of that was fair game. But to crack on
did you think the entanglement is fair game? Because our mom said this earlier, but she thought that what Regina Hall said earlier when she made the joke about, oh, Will, you come up on stage because Jada said it's okay. Like that was a bit more a bit more like right in your face about it. I mean, that to me, I would be more scared to make that joke. Because that was like right on the nose.
I look at that a little different, because I feel as though them being very open and disclosing the terms of the relationship has made that open to people's interpretation, right? Like on every sort of entertainment show when the Will and Jada and the entanglement stuff was hot, like people were freely discussing this, and Will was himself feeding into it by making additional comments. I think talking about the symptom of someone's actual health condition is a little bit different. You know what I mean? Because again, that's what can she do? You want her to grow some hair? Like, I mean, like she has something that causes her hair not to grow. And that's why she keeps that short style, which I think Jada's been rocking that shit flawlessly.
Right,
for decades. But at the same time, Chris Rock knew what he was doing. And not to mention, y'all, come on, Chris Rock is the creator, the producer of Good Hair, a documentary.
I was
Okay, wow.
about that. I was thinking about that too. I mean,
Yeah,
and
that's
he's going to
that's
take
true.
that platform to crack on a black woman's hair.
I guess I didn't think of it as crapping on her hair. Her hair was short. It was a bad joke about G.I. Joe because the only other woman who's played G.I. Joe is Demi Moore, who is also hot, super hot. I was just like to me, it was like an old dad joke in a way. Like, let's not forget Chris Rock is also the person who has released Tambourine, which is a special about realizing he had to show up to his marriage. I mean, maybe,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like also sometimes these comedians get old too and like get, like it was like, and what we're seeing, I think, is them resting on these laurels of these old lazy jokes that a lot of people used to. But I mean, and to be honest, so like when I used to do roast battle, I stopped doing it because it was so formulaic. Like I would have sit down meetings with comics, right? And they'd talk to me like, oh, okay, like you have 2 kids, but you left your kids. I would do a joke specifically about like leaving your kids, right? And I would talk to them about very specific stuff in my life. Didn't matter. They would just do a blanket joke about being a slut because I'm a woman. So it was like, and those jokes always hit because it was formulaic. So to me, it got old. So I think it's also what we're saying, like a lot of the audience has gotten tired of it, gotten smarter than it. And so like to me, when I even heard it, I was like, what a dumb joke. Like somebody wrote that for him or he wrote it.
I think he wrote it.
Lazy.
I think Chris Rock wrote it because he would have had to write it that same day. Like he would have had to see what she was wearing, you know what I mean, to know what her hair was going to be like. So I think he wrote it himself and he thought he was like, I got one, I got it, and I think he thought it was really going to land.
So Colin said, and thanks for the super chat, Colin. He said the problem is it sets a bad example of giving people the authority to slap a comedian if a person gets offended by a joke. So do you think like Will's reaction, do you think that was warranted? Because I think that was the thing for me. I was just like, okay. Like I understand he was upset, but I didn't feel like I would not walk up on stage and just slap Chris Rock. I felt like they could have handled that off stage. But I felt like, again, the look that Jada gave Will, because he was laughing at first. And it's like she gave him that look. And I felt like that's what prompted him to act.
I 100% agree. I felt like she did a Jedi mind trick on him. And she was like, she looked at him and was like, are you going to let this stand? And he was like, absolutely not. I will take care of this right now.
I agree with Kim that because I uncomfortably laugh a lot. At first, sometimes, like you're like, oh, and then, or sometimes it takes you a second, like, oh shit.
No, but I'm saying, I still don't think he would have. I think he would have gone and consoled her. He would have done something. Maybe he even would have yelled. You know what I'm saying? But something happened where he was like, I better get on board and defend this woman right now. Like, I don't know.
See, I think that something happened a while ago. And for Will to get up and be on that stage in less than 10 seconds, like slapping him like Pepe Le Pew or something like that with an open hand. Like, can we please pay some homage to the open hand slap?
Oh, of course.
My goodness, it was a thing of beauty. But like, what I have a feeling that because of the speed at which Will got up there, Will had told Chris Rock in the past, you say something else slick about my wife, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. And I think Will was just upholding that promise.
Right.
That could be. Yeah, this was his last straw. Yeah. That could be.
Tiffany Haddish did say in when she was quoted that they were friends and he knew not to they had talked about it. I think that's what she said. So yeah, I mean that there was definitely something more personal going on there, like that was a slap with somebody like that
I guess the thing is like, is it okay? Or let me see how I want to say this. Some people feel, or some people have made comments saying that Will and Jada kind of open people up to their personal life by doing that show the Red Table Talk and introducing the public to marital affairs that they've had like in their life, this whole entanglement thing or whatever. Like, I felt like that's something they should have kept to themselves. But do you feel that because they sort of invited the public into their personal life, some people are saying like they don't understand why Will is so angered and upset about this, but he was totally okay with Jada Pinkett going on television and telling everybody that she was falling in love with another man in this whole entanglement situation?
Well, let me put it to you like this. If Jada was a cancer patient and Chris Rock made that same joke, like would people have a better understanding of it? You know what I mean? Like, I feel because a lot of people don't know what alopecia is, they misunderstand it and or have not paid close attention to Jada when she has talked about this. They don't understand that this is a symptom of a health condition that she is dealing with. Again, like I am of the belief that your physical disabilities should be off limits to comedians unless said person is joking themselves and their own disability. Like, I am a big opponent to a hashtag that is very popular at times. It flares up from time to time, but it is the hashtag Stevie Ain't Blind. And it's specifically about Stevie Wonder, the world's greatest living ever singer, songwriter, musician. And anytime Stevie Wonder does something that most people believe that blind people can't or should not be able to do, it is always questioning, is Stevie Wonder actually blind?
Right.
And it is the most crass, invasive sort of shit. And it is an example of the ableist sort of things that disabled people deal with on a regular basis. And I totally understand looking at Jada and Will and we don't have class solidarity with Jada and Will, right? Like Jada and Will are straight and they've been gone for a long time. They left Philly and Baltimore long ago, right? But I think disabled people really resonated with this moment because it is so seldom that you see someone who is out about their condition or their disability. And I know people don't look at Jada as disabled, and that also is another conversation about visible and invisible disability as well. If people aren't using obvious disability mobility aids, for example, people aren't viewed as disabled, and that's another conversation about ableism as well. But I think it's important that that's how I see this moment. Like, and there's other layers to this privilege as well. If Jada and Will weren't married, if Jada was a single woman, if that had been Tiffany Haddish and an off-color joke landed about something immutable about her, would anyone have stood up for her? You know what I mean? So yeah, there's definitely a lot to this, but I don't want to isolate or leave out rather the ableist component of this. You know what I mean? Because it's there. And I think this was an interesting moment to sort of bring that out. But obviously Will was riding to the defense of his wife, whose condition he's intimately familiar with. And I'm sure he was less than thrilled to see a part of it being ridiculed, that to her pain. You know what I mean? This was the Oscars. Jada Pinkett Smith is an actress. These are her peers. Like, anyway, I'm done.
Thanks for the super chat, Marcus Cage. Would he have slapped a white comedian?
That was my question.
Would a white comedian had made that joke?
Yes, no, I think so. I could see Billy Crystal making that joke. I could see Jay Leno saying that joke, and I could see Ricky Gervais saying that joke. And they would all say them in different ways, but I could see him saying that joke.
I don't know. I can see Billy Crystal maybe making that joke in 1988. I can't see him making it in 2020.
But that's why I thought it was his name. I know.
Yeah,
I could see it too, but that's why I was surprised that Chris Rock did. It felt very old in that way.
Oh my God. Right. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes, it did. But I don't know.
Yeah, do you think? I mean, would he have slapped a white comedian?
Whoa, I didn't know this was a lollipop. That's so cool. Yeah.
Okay. If his reaction was as true and raw as it seemed, then yes. Then I think, because it seemed like he was just like on an impulse, was like, oh shit, I gotta get up and I gotta do this right now. And he wasn't even thinking about it. Right. So if that's the case, then yes. But
I guess I question, like, if I just feel like it might have been a different conversation if he slapped a white comedian, because then
The aftermath,
I feel like then we're talking about a safety. Then we're talking about legalities. Like, I don't think anybody ever thought that Chris Rock, I think if you're a black person and you didn't think that Chris Rock was going to press any charges, and he better not have, you know, like that's just kind of like, we got to keep this within the community. So like, you can't be doing that. So, but I think it would have just caused another level to it. And at this point that we're at in history, I wonder if white people would have either been like, well, we've got to let this black man have his emotions. We can't have gone through all these protests and then just be like, you know, but I don't think they would do that either.
I don't think so. It's hard to say though, because, you know, like I was saying earlier, like, you know, Will Smith is like their like great black hope. You know what I mean? Like, he's tall, he's light skinned, he's good looking, he can do this, he can do that. You know what I mean? Hero. So So I mean, what other black superheroes? There aren't that many. So it's like, it would have been really interesting to see how they would have treated him, specifically being a black guy slapping a white guy. I think he would have gotten quite a few more passes. I think they would have made some.
America might have broken though. Holy shit! Right. I don't know if we can handle that.
That might have been the last straw to cleave us off.
Haven't y'all seen these white women out here with pitchforks for Will Smith?
That's what would have broke it though. The white women would have been like, "Don't come after Will," and then the white men would have been like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like, you know, and that's where it would have. You have the white women and the white men, you know, fighting, and that's really where the Civil War.
Well, see, but that's why I think, again, I want us to look a little deeper now. This Will Smith is not known. I mean, he has slapped people before, apparently, but not for no reason, right? The video of him being groped, or this reporter tried to like grab his face and kiss him, and Will like mushed him or slapped him or whatever. Valid, okay? Anyone coming in and invading your space that way, I think you have absolute right to put hands on them. But I mean, this is not necessarily Will Smith's character. So I don't see, even, let's say even a white comic whom he may not have had a personal relationship made that same kind of joke. I don't see him actually going up there and slapping that white comic. That's why I think this is deeper than one night. You know what I mean? This was not just random Will Smith versus Chris Rock. I think this has been brewing for some time. All three of these people have been in Hollywood really about the same amount of time, like 30 some years now. So I'm sure they have crisscrossed in circles, and some shit has got back to Will and Jada and they didn't forget that shit. You know what I'm saying? So when Chris Rock got up there and wanted to single out Jay, okay, well, that was it.
But it is a good point. It's like the Kardashians though too. It's like, we make fun of them because they are everywhere. So it is that kind of like, you let people in with a certain amount, and obviously it's not like they deserve it or anything like that, but I think it is.
But I think the more people know, like Sabby, with, you know, like you're saying, Sabby, with the Red Table Talk, I guess it's true. The more people know about your life, the more material they have to draw from. I guess
they tell a lot of people about their business. I mean, like even the children, they talk about the kids' business too. And I'm like, now you're giving people permission to come after your kids, which I just think is just off limits. But my whole thing is, I don't think if it was a white person, I don't think Will Smith would have slapped him either. I think Will Smith knows very much well how to play the Hollywood game. He knows what to say, how much he can get away with and still remain popular. So I think he knows how to kind of toe that line a little bit. But for people who don't know, because some people are still saying it was fake, it wasn't real, it was staged. The Academy, I saw this like right before I went live. The Academy is actually putting him under review. Right. And they are reviewing to see if they're going to ask him to give his Oscar back.
Are they going to review Roman Polanski and Harvey Weinstein? Harvey Weinstein has lots of Oscars, lots of Academy Awards. I mean, the Academy is really one to talk. Really.
I don't think it has anything to do with your performance then.
Yeah.
They've already drawn that line.
Exactly.
Woody Allen, I mean, come on.
Will open hand slap somebody on stage. So what? He didn't rape a teenager. He's not a serial predator preying upon generations of actresses like many of these icons. I think, well, I mean, there was a tribute last night to William Hurt, if I'm not mistaken. William Hurt, who recently passed away, has lots of credible sexual assault accusations against them. So, you know, Academy, miss me with your faux morality. Like, don't grow a conscience now.
Right. Let's not bring that into the fold. That's not this issue.
I do want to mention this from Robert Escobar Show. Thanks for the super chat. If Will is such a great guy, why isn't he slapping people for Medicare for all instead of his wife? Well, he didn't slap his wife, just FYI. Those people don't care about anyone but themselves. And that's a good point. And this was something like CJ mentioned this earlier, that at the end of the day, I'm seeing people fight each other over Will Smith and Chris Rock. Will Smith and Chris Rock don't know you. Like they don't know your name. I don't see them doing anything for people in the Black community. Let's be real. So at the end of the day, they're going to be fine from this. They probably got themselves more like publicity after this situation from last night, but they're rich. They'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chris Rock is probably getting clowned as hell, though. Oh my God. All the comedians.
No, I don't.
Yeah, all the comics are probably, which
I
is
think,
funny.
look, that man hardly flinched. I think skinny as Chris Rock is, he's getting a lot of street cred out of this. He really, he stood his ground.
No, he stood there and got slapped. Like,
He still got slapped, but
I mean,
Okay, it's funny that this was the comment though, because this is also what we went on to talk about on our live stream, is that we used to work at Chateau Marmont down the street from the Oscars, where Jay-Z and Beyonce have their gold party. And we, as prior and former employees and the other former employees, were boycotting the event because they didn't hire people back. And when we were hired after the pandemic, and when we did work there and we worked the last gold party, you know, when we did work there, they stole our tips. They, you know, discriminated us against being women. There was racism that Tiffany Haddish experienced from like being sat, like when you're a celebrity, you get sat in the garden. If they don't know you and you're a Black person, you get sat somewhere else. So discrimination on many different levels going throughout the hotel. And, you know, we had reached, you know, obviously not us personally, but the union that we work with and everything had put out a lot of things about this boycott and asked Jay-Z to not have the gold party there, you know, show some solidarity with your dollars, and Issa Rae and
Spike Lee, Jane Fonda,
Sarah Silverman,
Ta-Nehisi Coates, like all kinds of people. A lot of people decided to boycott that gold party is something like it's not only a party for Black people. Everybody goes to that party. We saw all kinds of people at that party. So like it's really like the thing to be at. And so sad that you have to miss it. But I mean,
but missing one party might help people get health care or raise their wages.
It was funny. You know, Rome's tweet today was basically, you know, Will Smith smacked Chris Rock, but you're still poor. And like that should be the whole theme of the thing, because, you know, all of these celebrities, our labor union put up a picket line. So these people had to cross a picket line to get into a party, and they still went. I mean, it's just, these people don't care about us at all. And they never use what's the point of building this big community and having all these people love you and adore you and then not using it for something good, just using it for your own personal gain? It's so crazy to me.
But also they're also have told us to vote for Joe Biden and support Democrats and things like that. So it's like, obviously we cannot be looking to them, but we do need to be pressuring them. Please look up, like Keisha was quoted in page 6 through the union, like just talking about how the working class is sick of celebrities virtue signaling. And it's not like this is Jay-Z or Beyonce's fault. Like they tip, they're good, like they're nice to us and everything. But if you know that this discrimination is happening, the managers sometimes wouldn't even, not all the managers, but one manager wouldn't look at some of us in the eye. So I don't think what we say is going to make them think that we deserve to get a fair living wage. But maybe, you know, somebody like Jay-Z, who is a billionaire now, might actually be able to make some sort of a difference. So it's not about him being a bad guy, but it's about, you know, like these are the only few things that you have some leverage about. And so it really sucks that they truly do not care and would not use that event to, you know, help raise any awareness about it. So I hope they had a great time.
Thank you for this, a kid, for the super chat. Will Smith and Jada can't have it both ways. Make money off their family issues. They can't take a joke. Will only lead to copycaters.
Hey guys, here's the thing.
Copycatters, maybe.
Keep joking people's health conditions, okay? Like keep making it a joke, keep making it funny. And now I think I'm not upset at this precedent at all. Like, because again, I think this is a deeper issue between personalities. I think this is a a triangle of history of sorts that we probably won't be completely privy to until the end of life memoirs come out in about 25 years. And then we'll get the whole backstory behind it. But until then, I took this as, and a lot of people are viewing it this way. I mean, we are not accustomed to seeing Black women publicly defended in this way. Okay, that seldom happens. Usually, as we saw in the confirmation hearings with Ketanji Brown Jackson, when men or white folks decide to talk to you any old kind of way, or to crack on you, or to undermine your appearance or your intelligence or anything pertaining to your capabilities, then we are expected to just sit there and eat that no matter what. And I don't cape for Will and Jada. As I said, we are not in class solidarity with Will and Jada, but I can appreciate that individual moment of a man taking up for his wife who is dealing with a health condition and decided to slap the shit out of somebody who had a joke about a symptom about that health condition. Like, that aspect of it is going to remain okay with me.
So Kim, do you think it's okay that he walked up on the stage and slapped him though? Or like, you're okay with that?
I think that Chris Rock probably had fair warning. Like, again, I don't look at this as an isolated thing. I look at this as the catalyst, like the very fiery end of what I believe to be a pretty long saga. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at last night as a singular moment. I look at it as the end result of a bunch of moments that have led up to this. And I mean, listen, if I had a husband and somebody was making a joke about my disability, I would be fine with my husband going up there and slapping the shit out of him.
Thanks for the super chat, Robert Escobar Show. How many celebrities knew about Weinstein, though? How many remain silent? Are women in Hollywood still being abused? Aren't celebrities complicit? Yes, I think a lot of people knew about Harvey Weinstein.
Mm-hmm. Definitely had to.
Just like Louis C.K., just like on and on and on.
Yeah.
Right.
It's I think it's kind of this thing where this is like, they know not to speak about it.
People want to protect their bag. People want to protect their money. People want to protect their social network. So there's a lot of really, people will throw other people under the bus. I mean, I personally have had people like harass me, and then you say something and they're like, why are you trying to get this comedian canceled? And it's like, or maybe they shouldn't have harassed me. I mean, damn, like that, people want to, and especially if you're a person who's making money, people want to protect that person because it's easier than making your own talent. Then I'm going to go over here and latch onto this person and be a part of their circle, part of their world. So that happens a lot, and you just get a lot of yes men. So yeah, there's a lot of people who know. And I agree with Kim though on this about the Chris Rock thing. I think it was a building up of, now I see what you're saying there. I feel like it was a culmination of several talks.
Culmination,
events.
girl. I'm a stoner. I couldn't come up with culmination for that. That's what I was trying to say.
I got you. Picked you up, girl.
Three stoners together. We'll all get that word right. I mean, I agree. I think there is something to it being just like cool that he stood up for his wife and definitely stood up for a Black woman. I mean, this thing just has so many layers to it. It's so interesting.
Because as a Black woman, you usually have to stand up for yourself, and that's very tiring. So I completely understand it from that issue, because it's like, oh, okay, I always have to be the angry person again, but I do feel like I have to defend myself. So yes, so having your man defend you, of course, is a nice thing. I guess I thought
the slap was okay.
It was a strong slap.
I feel like
it gave a message.
It gave a message, exactly. Like, I feel like, maybe it wasn't the most appropriate, I guess, but it's an award show. Like, people are out shaking their ass and stuff on stage 2 minutes ago. Like, I don't know. Like,
we got nothing else going on. The world is coming to shit. I want to see more of this. I want to see what people really feel. That's, so I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
I mean, people act like they took Chris Rock off the stage on a stretcher. I mean, simmer down.
Right.
Simmer down. And again, like, there's a class component to this. There's a race, there's a gender, there's a
lot of layers to this
component to this. But to the person who said that comment about Harvey Weinstein, but didn't a lot of people know, listen, let's not act as though men and women are an equal power dynamic footing here in Hollywood, okay? Like, women don't yield a lot of power, and the women who are powerful are that way because they act like men, right? And they take that however way you want it. But when it comes to the issue of women in Hollywood or in entertainment being preyed upon sexually, women are forced, basically implied coercion to be quiet, like to not out powerful people who may be abusers or predators. Why do you think Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, why do you think all these people were allowed to get away with this shit for so long completely unchecked? Because in part, I agree, it was about protecting the bag. But if you're a young actress or a young comedian and you're trying to get your foot in the door and Louis C.K. or fucking Bill Cosby, wants to help you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are going to seize that opportunity. And when the assault or the inappropriate conduct happens, who the fuck are you going to tell? You know what I'm saying? So let's not act like women are bosses and are in complete control and autonomous over their bodies and even their own careers out there in Hollywood. There is a huge gender power dynamic happening in Hollywood. So please, miss me with that.
And one thing I want to add too is Will Smith does kind of have the privilege to do what he just did. And what I mean by that is his career isn't really going to be affected. We got to remember Jada and Will own their own production company. They make movies, they make TV shows. So it's not like he has to go out and he can audition, but he doesn't have to. They have their own production company. You got to think about someone doing what Will did, and they really are kind of at the mercy of like these directors and these casting crew to try to get these positions. But he knew that when he walked up there and he slapped Chris Rock, he knew, okay, yeah, maybe the Academy may come take his Oscar away, whatever. But at the end of the day, he knew there wouldn't be repercussions for him. He knew that Chris Rock was not going to press charges. He knew that he would still be able to keep his career. And I want people to understand that that's the power dynamic that is really important here to remember as well. When you don't have to rely on other people to get these roles and you got it like that, that's why he knew that he could do that. Like, I personally am anti-slap. I mean, I would have handled that situation a lot differently, but I mean, that's me. I wouldn't have done that in front of a group of people. I'm the type of person that I'll sit there and I'll nod my head for a little bit, but when the event's over, then I'll pull you aside. But that's me. I don't know. Part of me felt like, did Will do this for show? Did he do this for attention? Like, some people think he did it for attention.
Like,
and then to make it awkward, then you had to go back up there and accept your award. So it's like,
I think the integral part of that phrase is, accept your award, though. You know what I mean? Like, he still got the award, and even if they take it away from him, he still won. I don't know.
Who is this Robert Nickel guy in the comments who seems to think that we're so intellectually wrong? If you have a comment, Robert, I would love to hear what you have to say. But right now, you can go fuck yourself, because I think that we're all giving a very textured, layered, a lot of context to what we're saying. So
it's probably just a troll.
Okay, well, what the hell? Like, damn, people are.
I'm not even in the damn chat. Should I be in there?
Don't worry about it. Anyway,
you handle
another
business.
thing. Here I am getting angry.
Oh boy.
I think you're right. I think that obviously he gained a level of being Will Smith to be able to even get to that point to doing that. And it's not like it was the MTV Awards or something like that. Like, that would be a different conversation.
It would be more expected at the MTV Awards,
right?
Yeah.
We've never seen it at a level like the Oscars.
I mean, I would really hope, though, that at this level in his career, they wouldn't take away his award because of this.
Oh, they will.
Like,
I
yeah.
think they're gonna find a way. There's enough angry white people swerving way out of their lane to make sure that they take this award away from Will Smith. I see that coming.
I'll have to look up and see if they did this to someone before, because I'm not sure if they've done this before. But
so
I don't see them taking it away. I think that they might, like, gosh, I mean, I can't believe if I were wrong on this one, I'd be really wrong. But I just feel like I think that there are probably people who want them to be seen as taking it seriously, or you know what I mean? Because I think there were a lot of people who were like, oh, he just got to walk back up on stage, or he just got to sit back down in his seat. So I think that there might be a level of that, like, we better as a company or as an entity take this seriously, so we'll review it. But I mean, it would be hard to take it away from him with your Woody Allens and your Polanskis and you know what I mean? You'd have to really make that case.
I mean, yeah, you would have to make the case that, so we were watching, of course, our mom was watching The View earlier, and Sunny, of course, is always talking about things being assault, and I'm like, what? Because she's a lawyer, and I don't know that I mean, that just was that assault, or was that two guys who knew each other and had clearly should have squashed the beef elsewhere, but decided, but Will decided to handle it on TV. I mean, Chris Rock he already said he's not gonna press charges. So
No assault.
technically in that sense, it can't be assault, but I could see, the Academy saying, oh, well, this was assault, so we're gonna take his thing away because of it.
So somebody hit me today. Shout out to Northern Witch. Northern Witch hit me to something, and I haven't been able to verify this myself yet, but I trust what Northern Witch had to say. But anyway, so apparently, and I can't tell you the year, but John Wayne had to be physically restrained from attacking a Native woman who was accepting an award on behalf of Marlon Brando, who was boycotting the Oscars that particular year. This is not necessarily unprecedented, and I'm pretty sure John Wayne is probably in the Academy Award Hall of Fame as a legendary cultural icon for Hollywood. So yeah, again, like the Academy is not the place.
Yeah, that's very true.
They are not the moral arbiter of this. And there was an opinion piece today in the LA Times. And I don't even remember the writer's name, but she was bemoaning the fact that a man messed up the headlines for what was a stellar night for women last night at the Academy Awards. And it's like, and she called it like the worst Oscars worst night, or the ugliest night, the ugliest Oscars. And it's like, oh, when Hattie McDaniel had to sit in the back, like that wasn't the ugliest night. Of course, you didn't think that was the ugliest night. When Black actors for generations were completely snubbed outright from either participating or even being nominated for their award-winning caliber roles, like, of course, that was never Oscar's ugliest night. It's when Black people behaved in a way that was disapproving to white folks. That made it Oscar's ugliest night. And the hypocrisy there, it cannot be overstated.
I have a confession to make. I didn't even see the movie that Will Smith won the Oscar for.
Nobody saw that movie. Nobody saw any of those movies.
Did you see it?
I'm trying to see it, King Richard, now. Now I'm interested.
Now you're trying to see
Now
it.
we want to see it.
Was this a big plot?
I didn't see any of the movies that were up there. Not a one. I don't understand it.
No. Well, ladies, thanks so much.
Other one.
Thank you, Sabby.
Thanks so much for coming on. I'm gonna go. I kept you guys over time. I'm really bad with time.
It's all good. I didn't realize it.
This was fun.
Always good to talk to you, Kim.
Always. Thank you, baby sisters.
Love to hear your perspective.
Sabby,
Thanks so much,
Bye,
Sabby.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.
Have a good one.